welcome to this video. I am so glad you are here. Before I get into these very sensitive and very emotional subjects, I want to make sure and say that discussing these subjects in particular reflects no individual person's experience or story. This is just a general overview of concerns involved about these particular subjects as related to cryptic pregnancy and extended gestation of 18 months to 7 years. I also want to make sure and state that these subjects are grossly ignored in the cryptic pregnancy community, which is very unfortunate and a disservice to all women around the world. I do not want to reveal whether or not someone has contacted me about any one particular subject because I do not want to be responsible for risking someone's life, because some of these subjects have dangerous consequences depending on the location you live in. So let's get into these very important subjects. So the first one I want to discuss in relation to extended gestation and cryptic pregnancy of 18 months to 7 years is teen pregnancy. I know that in my personal experience, if I had gotten a hold or found Suzanne Huntley's, formerly known as Suzanne H. Wheat, if I would have gotten a hold of her website when I was a teenager and barely understanding my sexuality, starting to come into my own, if I would have gotten a hold of this information as a teenager or a preteen, thinking that I could be pregnant for years and years and years and years would have terrified me to absolutely no end. Mostly because there's no way to confirm this pregnancy. So it's so obscure and so mysterious, and as a teenager this would have completely terrified me. This would not have empowered me as a woman. Finding this information and wondering if you could actually be pregnant for that amount of time would have probably kept me from a lot of things. It would have scared me into a completely new way of thinking, a completely new way of thinking of the woman's body and how conception, pregnancy, labor, and childbirth work. It would completely have changed the way I understood sex education and everything. This information as a young teenager is very dangerous and unhelpful. How does a teenager deal with the fact that she may think that she is cryptically pregnant, can't find confirmation, can't get confirmation, and how is she supposed to cope with accepting that she's going to be pregnant for years and years and years and not knowing when she's going to deliver? If she might not even be a teenager anymore when she delivers, how do you go all your teenage years pregnant but not able to confirm it? I mean, this is a major subject that the extended gestational cryptic pregnancy community ignores. What about teenagers? Teenagers get pregnant too, and are they exempt from cryptic pregnancy? Are they exempt from extended gestation because of their age? How does this work? Also in this category would be the subject of premarital sex. So I kind of lumped premarital sex and teen pregnancy together because usually they kind of go hand in hand. Say you were a 17-year-old teenager who was having pregnancy symptoms, but you were testing negative, and you decided to Google pregnant with negative test, and all of Suzanne Huntley, formerly Suzanne H. Wheat's information on her website pops up, and if you were to find all of that, it would not help you in any way, because how do you deal with something like that as a 17-year-old teenager? Like, would your mother even believe you? Would your grandmother believe you? Would anybody believe you? How do you cope with this? And that's my, are teenagers exempt from this? That's my major question here. Are teenagers exempt from an extended gestation of 18 months to 7 years? Because even an 18-month pregnancy is a very long pregnancy to go through without having any confirmation. So let's go to our next subject. The next subject would be infidelity / paternity. So if a unfaithful woman decides that she's going to cheat on her husband, and she cheats on him, and she ends up having sexual relations with the person that she's cheating with and her husband around in the same time. And so how does she know whose baby is whose if she's experiencing a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year pregnancy? How do you determine paternity in an extended gestational pregnancy of 18 months to 7 years? How is an unfaithful woman supposed to deal with this kind of pregnancy? She can't get confirmation. So why would her husband or the person she cheated with believe her? Why would either party believe her? How is she supposed to cope with this and still continue? I mean, because she has nothing set in stone. If she doesn't have a positive pregnancy test, urine test, she doesn't have a positive blood test, and she doesn't have a positive ultrasound. So there's no way to know when she conceived, how big the baby is. There's no way for her to know what she should tell her husband and what she should tell the person that she cheated on with. How does an unfaithful woman deal with an extended gestational pregnancy of 18 months to 7 years? Let's go to the next subject. And this is a very, very sensitive subject. Before I get into it, I just want to warn anybody, if you've had any kind of traumatic experience sexually, you don't want to go over these subjects, please click out now. We are going to be going over the subject and the topic of rape and sexual assault. How does a rape victim deal with an extended gestational pregnancy of 18 months to 7 years? If a rape victim unfortunately gets pregnant from that traumatic experience, how does she deal with this if she cannot get confirmation? How does she even know she's actually even pregnant? One second. The traumatic experience of the rape itself is enough for the woman to have to handle and go through, let alone questioning if she's experiencing a pregnancy that she cannot confirm, let alone an extended gestation pregnancy of 18 months to 7 years. Also, how does the rape victim deal with paternity? How does she know that she actually conceived from the rape itself and not something previous to the rape or something after an sexual encounter with somebody that she wanted to have a sexual encounter with? How does she know that it's actually that the predator is actually the father of her child? How does a rape victim know this in an 18-month to 7-year pregnancy? The next topic, and this is another sensitive, very sensitive topic, the topic of molestation and sexual abuse. How does a molestation victim deal with an extended gestation of 18 months to 7 years if they are not able to get it confirmed and they are not able to know whether or not this pregnancy was a result of molestation acts, anything like that? How does this victim deal with an 18-month to 7-year pregnancy? And then last but not least, the very sensitive topic of incest. How does an incest victim deal with an extended gestation of 18 months to 7 years? How do they deal with the possibility of being pregnant for that long from somebody that they are either related to, That's, I really feel like these topics are very much ignored on purpose by the extended gestational cryptic pregnancy community. A lot of the extended gestational cryptic pregnancy community leaders who enforce the idea of extended gestation of 18 months to 7 years, these women that enforce this idea to other women, I think that they ignore these topics purposely, and they know that if they even try to address these topics, then the idea of an extended gestational pregnancy of 18 months to 7 years kind of starts to unravel. It just does. When you discuss these subjects under the pretense of extended gestation of 18 months to 7 years, these are already very sensitive subjects. But when you discuss it under the pretense of 18 months to 7 years, of a woman experiencing a pregnancy, having been victim of these things, it becomes very disturbing, unsettling, restrictive, and quite frankly, scary. An extended gestational pregnancy of 18 months to 7 years is not an empowering, uplifting, and connective movement or idea that is relatable, because it's very much the opposite. The idea of an 18-month to 7-year pregnancy is elusive, intangible, and unconfirmed because all the tests are negative. So there's nothing empowering about it. If you take these subjects, telling a woman who has been raped that she could be pregnant for 18 months to 7 years is not uplifting. That does not help her in any way, shape, or form. Telling an incest victim that they could be pregnant for 18 months to 7 years is not empowering information. That's not uplifting information. That's not positive information. That's completely the opposite to these people, these victims. Telling somebody who is a victim of molestation that she could be pregnant for an extended amount of time, for up to 7 years, is completely, it is not helpful. That telling that to somebody who is already been so traumatized that they're going to go through something even more traumatic, such as an 18-month to 7-year pregnancy, unconfirmed, without getting any prenatal care, without having anybody believe you, and when you start to discuss these subjects and say, well, a rape victim could be pregnant for 18 months to 7 years, that's disturbing. That's unsettling, and it's scary. An incest victim could be pregnant for 18 months to 7 years. That's disturbing and unsettling and scary, and not something that should be promoted as a movement. This information does nothing but confuse women and tell women that how they learned their bodies work is not how their bodies work, and instead their bodies work in a completely different way. And I will get more into that in another video, hopefully this Friday. But if you have any questions about the information I include in this video, please leave them in the comments below. If you have any information or any answers to any of these questions, which I doubt you will, because there is no way that a rape victim can deal with this kind of pregnancy. So does this pregnancy actually exist? Because rape victims are not exempt from an extended gestation. What makes you exempt from an extended gestation? If you know the answer to that question, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for pushing the truth. I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. Please tell someone the truth today. Be well. Stay blessed. Bye.